When I buy my phone, nobody knows it.
I don't
Now you
enter
don't,
meeting. No,
now you don't buy iPhone 17. What is it like say, you don't know anything they happen.
I'm in a meeting now.
Yeah.
Oh, please, I will not start if nobody have joined today. If I stay for, let's say this is 609. If I stay for 625 and nobody joined, I will just call off the meeting. I will call off the meeting. So once you join, kindly introduce yourself. Today we need to be very formal and official. I don't know if anybody can hear me. Please, if you join, kindly introduce yourself so that we will start formally. If you can hear me, please introduce yourself. Just drop your name at the comment section. It's very important so that we can start. Today we need to take attendance. Please, can you hear me? Okay, please, if you can hear me, kindly introduce yourself because we need to take attendance today. Please introduce yourself. Okay, Masakai Casey, welcome. Let's just wait for 2 minutes, see if one or two persons again can join so that we can proceed. Today's slide is very brief, so let's just give 5 minutes, see if others can join so that we'll proceed. Once it's 20 minutes, once it's 20 minutes past 6, we'll start. Oh, when shall I within the booth and shall hear the trumpet sound morning, and from the flowing fountains drinking everlasting love, and shall hear the trumpet sound in the morning. Oh, glory, I shall man in the morning. Great promise is given to believe. Behold, I come quickly, my own to receive. Oh, fast till I come, the danger is great. Sleep not as to others. Be watchful and wait. Oh, fast till I come, sweet promise of heaven, the kingdom restored to you shall be given. Come enter my joy, sit down on my throne. Bright crowns are in waiting. Oh, fast till I come. All right, it's exactly 20 minutes past 6, so we'll start. Let me quickly share my screen so that we will start. All right. All right, if you can see my screen, please let me know if you can see my screen. Can you see my screen? Oh, it's out, it's out, it's out, it's out. Okay, so we will be talking about chemistry honor. We're talking about chemistry honor, like I said before. It's going to be a very brief one because the chemistry honor is bulky, so we're going to take it bit by bit. So basically, these are the things that you are supposed to teach and ask them. First of all, talk about the basics of matter. So when you talk about elements, atom, molecules, and compounds, this forms the basis of matter. So they should be able to understand the meaning. They should be able to understand and explain the meaning of elements in chemistry. They should be able to define what an atom is. They should be able to also define a molecule and a compound and give examples, not just definition, not just oral definition. Give example, a practical example, as an observable example that somebody can, like bringing it back home to for everybody to understand the scenario. Okay, so elements has to do with pure substance made up of only one type of atom. Okay, we say that an element is blah 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 that cannot be split to any small of an elements are pure substance made up of only one type of atom broken down into simpler substances by any chemical means. Now, example of an element include we have carbon, we have hydrogen, we have helium, we have lithium, we have beryllium, we have boron, we have carbon, okay, I've mentioned carbon, we have argon, we have nitrogen, we have oxygen, as I've mentioned, we have fluorine, we have neon, we have sodium, we have silicon, and so on and so forth. So they should be able to mention, after knowing the definition of element, they should be able to mention 20 elements. They should be able to mention 20 elements without looking at any paper. So 20 smallest of an element that retains its chemical properties. Atom is the smallest unit of an element that retains its chemical properties. That means an atom consists of nucleus, as we all know, and this nucleus contains the proton and the neutrons surrounded by electrons. So these are the components of an atom. So after teaching this, they should also be able to draw and illustrate what an atom is, the position of the nucleus, the position of the electrons. And then they should also be able to understand what is called valencies or chemical valency. All right, the next is molecule. A molecule has to do with a group of a chemical compound that can take part in a chemical reaction. Two or more elements together. Let's say, for instance, we know that when we talk about example of a molecule, we have water molecule. And you know that O3 is ozone. And now ozone has to do with 3 molecules of oxygen. Combination of 3 molecules of oxygen makes ozone. Okay, so that is one of the things they need also to understand. They need to understand. Then the next is compound. What is a compound? A compound has to do with substances that are forced within that, okay, substances that are formed within 2 or more different elements that are chemically combined together or chemically bonded together. 2 or more elements that are chemically combined together. Okay, so now when substances are chemically bounded together, it is called a compound. And when we say that 2 substances are physically combined together, we call that one a mixture. But this one has to do with the process of their combination or bonding is is chemically processed, in that they cannot be easily separated. They cannot be physically separated. So for you to separate this mixture, it has to do with also chemical process. For example, water, which has to do with the combination of hydrogen, two molecules of hydrogen and a molecule of oxygen to form water. This pass through a chemical process. And then that of table salt that all of us know, which is sodium chloride. The combination of sodium and chlorine to form this table salt is also a chemical process, and that is the reason why it can be regarded as a compound. So this is one of the things they need to know and learn for them to be able to, pass through the honor series. Then the next thing has to do with the chemical concepts. Chemical concepts. We now talk about the chemical symbols, periodic tables, solutions, combustion, acid, and the salt. So this very phase of this honor basically talks about understanding the various concepts or definitions of these aspects in chemistry. This is simply SS1 curriculum. That is SS1 first, second term curriculum. So every Pathfinder that falls within the bracket of JS3, SS1 should be able to know this for free. Okay, so chemical symbols has to do with a shorthand notation of one or two elements used to represent elements. So some of them uses only the first letter of that element. For instance, hydrogen is H, which is just the first letter of hydrogen that is written in capital letter. Some of them uses two letters of the element, which one is written in capital and the other is written in small letter. For example, helium is written as He, and that is the first. Sodium chemical symbol is generated from its Latin name, and then from the natrium, the first and the second letters of the alphabet forming natrium are used for the symbol, that is the Na. Sodium, gold, which is also gold is argentum, which that is where it is generated as Ag, whereas silver is aurium, and that is where the symbol is generated as Au. And then we also have copper, that is also generated from its Latin name coprium, which is Cu. And then other ones, some of them were also generated from the first and the third letters of the elements, whereas some still first, second, like carbon, and then oxygen is O, which is the first letter, and so on and so forth. Then what is periodic table? Is a table of arrangement of all known chemical elements organized by atomic numbers, electron configuration, and their recurring chemical properties. So periodic table is the arrangement of the elements, but this arrangement is done following their atomic numbers, their electronic configuration, and then their recurring chemical properties. So it has to do with how it appears in the carbon shell. It has to do with following their STP, following their IUPAC names, and then the number of electrons that the element it contains in its outermost shell. Then what is a solution? A solution has to do with a homogeneous mixture formed when a solute dissolves in a solvent. These are two big grammars now, solute and the solvent. And we all know that solute plus solvent is equals to solution. Okay, so a solute can be a solid particle, or can be a solid state of matter that is being dissolved in a liquid. This liquid can be water, it can be oil of any form, but is a liquid. And then when it is being dissolved in this liquid, the result is called a solution. Okay, so when a cube of sugar is dissolved in water, that particular water changes its taste from in chemistry term, it changes its initial state. Its initial state can be obtained based on the test. So once the initial state changes as a result of what was added to it, being a solid or a liquid, as the case might be, will now call the outcome a solution. Okay, so please, it is very important that whoever that will teach this particular honor is grounded, is a science student that is grounded in chemistry, so that somebody will not go and teach rubbish. And remember, you are also teaching some people who are already students having chemistry teachers and they are good in chemistry. So once you get to teach and you are teaching something that is out of the line, automatically you are rendering yourself nonsense before this your learners. All right, so let's go to combustion. A rapid chemical reaction between a substance and oxygen that produces heat and light. Complete combustion of CO2, that is carbon dioxide. Or, okay, let's say carbon 4 oxide. That is carbon 4 oxide and the water. That is complete combustion. So we say that it is a chemical reaction between a substance and oxygen that produces heat and light. So this brings in the aspect of chemical reaction. I'm just trying to give a brief overview, because if we go to an in-depth learning, each of these components will take us time. If we go to an in-depth learning, it will take us time. So I'm just giving a highlight of definitions, so that as you give the definition, you give instances, you give examples, so that they will need to understand. This particular honor is aimed at even assisting those students who are learning chemistry, for them to understand. So if you can teach this very aspect very well, you have helped such students to understand this very aspect of chemistry. So combustion has to do with a chemical reaction, and this chemical reaction involves a substance that will be mixed with oxygen excuse me, to produce heat and the light. To produce heat and the light. And we say that complete combustion of hydrocarbon yields carbon 4 oxide and water. Then acid is a substance that donates hydrogen ion. It donates hydrogen ion. That means it is an oxidizing agent in solution. So, right, and they have a pH below 7, and it is also corrosive. Compound formed when hydrogen of an acid is replaced by a metal ion, and so that is the reason why a metal ion, that is the reason why when sorry, that's the reason why when sodium meets with chlorine, it becomes a common salt, because now sodium is a base. We can also define salt as the combination of an acid and a base, because sodium is a base and chlorine is an acid. So when sodium and chlorine combine together, they form salt. Then we also have that of NaOH, that is sodium hydroxide, which is called caustic soda. Sodium hydroxide. Now, sodium is also a base. This is a combination of sodium, oxygen, and then hydrogen. That is the reason why it's written as NaOH. But its nomenclature is pronounced as sodium hydroxide. This is also is a caustic soda. Sodium chloride is the one that we know generally as common salt. Now, subatomic particles. With proton, we have the neutron, we have the electron. Then the positive charge, that is for proton. Then what you need to understand there in summary is that proton has electrical charge, whereas the neutron is neutral, no electric charge, no electrical charge, whereas the electron is the negative charge. So proton is the positive, neutron is the neutral, and then electron is the negative. Finally, for today, we'll talk about separation techniques, where you talk about distillation, fractional distillation, and filtration. So just have all this, and then if you have any question, can drop it in the comment section while we treat that as required. Thank you, and that will be all for tonight. Since we don't have people joining, so we can just end the stream today. Thank you and have a nice day.